I'm just glad that Googling that a minute ago didn't bring up porn.
Yeah. Woo. Ooh. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.
Hi, Third Degree fans. This is Amy Carrick, season ticket holder for FC Dallas and the better half of the Carrick family. Third Degree, the podcast, is brought to you by Soccer 90, your source for FC Dallas, U.S. national team, and international club gear. Check out the new arrivals dropping daily. Gear from leagues around the world, fresh Serie A, Premier League, Bundesliga, and of course, MLS and FC Dallas Club merch available now. Reminder, Third Degree listeners get 20% off at soccer90.com with promo code Third Degree. Some exclusions may apply.
Well, hello there, FC Dallas curious fan, or should I say giddy fan. Welcome to another episode of Third Degree, the podcast. Hi, my name is Peter, and as always, my two friends here with me on the miracle of the internet. First, Dan Crooke. Come in, Dan.
Hi.
Howdy,
How's
Dan.
it going? Howdy.
It is good. Thank you for asking. And your hero, my hero, a man of this country, out on the highways and byways of our fine nation on his annual walkabout somewhere in southwestern United States, editor-founder of Third Degree, the podcast, and .net, Buzz Carrick. Come in, Buzz. Literally, Buzz, come in. Where are you, Buzz?
Yeah, hi, Peter. Calling in today from near Bryce Canyon, which is in southern Utah. I'm not sure if Utah is considered the southern part of the United States, but definitely the western part of the United States, for sure.
All right. This is where I insert my sister wives joke.
You have a sister wives joke.
Okay, never mind. So, Buzz, since a lot of people that listen to the podcast may not be familiar with your annual pilgrimage.
Oh, yeah.
So what is this you're doing? So you tell everybody what's up.
Well, my wife's family has a lake house up in northern Idaho. So every year during the summer when I'm often working less, we go on a drive across the country to that lake and then back, and it takes about a week each direction. The one rule we try and follow is to not use any interstates. It's all scenic byways and back roads, the blue highways in America, national parks, anything we can find to see around the western half of the United States on our way up there. And so over the last decade, I've seen almost all there is to see in the western half of the United States, but it's still fantastic and we still do it every year.
How many miles do you end up traveling?
It's usually roughly about 5,000. The longest one I ever did was 9,000.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Follow-up question. Why do you hate Dwight Eisenhower so much?
I find interstates when you're traveling to be boring. You kind of just zone out and you go through the same sort of kind of thing all the time. They all look the same. Or if you take back roads, you see, more of real America, whether it be the wilderness or whether it be small towns. It's just more colorful and awesome.
I admire that about you. I tend to be so impatient. I want to get from point A to point B as fast as I can. It would be a real struggle for me to leave the highway and byway interstates and lose all that precious time. But the idea of seeing all that scenery in America in the way that you're doing it does sound awfully romantic.
Yeah, for me, the journey is the destination. I enjoy cross-country driving. And I also enjoy seeing things I've never seen, whether it be parks or whether it be places or even roads I've never driven on. That kind of stuff fascinates me. I drive all over the country when I'm going to work if I don't have to fly. It's I get a lot of pleasure from it. And my wife Amy is the same way in a lot of ways. So we've been doing it for years and years, and it's a lot of fun. Now I happen to have enough time that I'm not in a hurry, between whatever I'm usually working. In the summer, I usually have a lot of time off. So I'm not in a hurry. I just put it on 5 over the speed limit and just cruise along. And when you're in the mountains and it's cool and you can roll the windows down or you're going slow, and I usually take the dog with me and he has a blast and or used to. And then, that's what we do.
Yeah. All right.
So, Buzz, little bit of little bit of a pilgrimage you can always make. You're pretty close to Newcastle in Utah.
I've been in Newcastle in Delaware. Yeah, I didn't know there was a Newcastle in Utah.
All right. Well, bring me something back nice. I need a gift.
Okay.
Don't forget about me.
Yeah, all right. I've got some stuff in my truck for you already, although I left it at home, of course.
Yeah. All right. No worries. Well, have a
Is
good
it
trip. Man.
Old Major's bacon bourbon?
No, it's some third degree and some Dallas Cup stuff that doesn't fit me because it's made for small people, not fat people.
Just cancel the rest of the podcast.
Yeah.
And I still have your kick around T-shirt with your initials on it we had made that I still haven't given you because I haven't seen you in forever. It feels
I know.
like.
It's been a while.
It's so weird that we've been doing this podcast every week for however long, and I'm pretty certain it has been. When was the last time you and I actually saw each other? Was it at an FC Dallas game this season? It wasn't this season.
Not this
was it?
season. No, it must have been last year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And before that, it probably was before the pandemic.
Oh no, you know what? You and I went to a Dallas game and we enjoyed the fact that they had limited seating and nobody was going.
That's right.
We got into the stadium and just had an entire section to ourselves.
Yeah.
It felt like it was
that was awesome. Yeah, we told nobody to come back to the game. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
We did. We probably didn't help the cause very much by promoting.
So
Don't go to those games. They're so terrible. It's a terrible experience.
Over a year ago, then.
Yeah, well, I miss you, Buzz.
Thanks, man.
And I do miss you too, Dan, although I saw you a couple weeks ago at said stadium. That's a magnificent beard you've grown, by the way, sir.
Thank you. I was trying to not be neckbeardy or Amish looking.
No, you look like you could easily slot in a role on Game of Thrones or any of the Lord of the Rings movies.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It is. It's meant as nothing other than that, sir. I'm just trying to give everybody a visualization of just how massive your beard has gotten.
I'm trimming it. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. No, it's fine. Don't be embarrassed. It's a compliment. All right. Nobody cares about travel or beards or anything else. They want to hear Buzz and Dan and probably not me talk about their favorite football club, FC Dallas.
Oh,
which may have hit a peak of the season when they went on the road and they didn't just win, they won, and they won over a club icon, Oscar Pereira's Orlando City, and they did it in 3-1 style. Buzz?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty good. Is it better than the LA Galaxy 3-0 win?
Well, only because the Galaxy have been so shoddy of late.
Well, they did get smoked by Houston, but then they turned around and smoked the Aztecs. So that was you're right. The LA defense has gone to pot. For about a 2-week stretch there, it was not good. But you would also say that the overall win against Orlando was more comprehensive. I mean, there's a lot to like about that win. Before you even get into players, you can just look at the overall team stats. And when you have more possession than the home team, when you have a similar number of shots, but a really nice, efficient. Remember, we always talk about efficiency with this team. 6 shots on goal out of their 13. That's really good. That's the team we like to see. The bulk of their shots came in the box. That's the team we like to see. So it's not just that they won on the road. Again, winning on the road is very difficult in MLS. It's the way they played, which is the way that this team wants to play, the style they want to play, the manner they want to play. So comprehensive win, really good win. There's really very little to not like about this game, other than one or two small things we'll get to later. But terrific win.
All right, Dan. There was a pretty big difference in this game between the first and second halves, and I know that you just finished watching it just a little bit before recording this podcast on Wednesday night. You're the one that has the freshest memory of it, and you haven't had a chance to write your kind of review that you post on the website. What are you thinking about when you're thinking about what you're going to add to that article when you do it?
I'm still doing it. Oh, balls.
Yes, you are.
I'm going out of town tomorrow.
You do not get out of it, no, sir.
Okay, I'll have to try and squeeze it in somewhere. No, I really liked, like you say, they the first half, Orlando kind of suckered them in a little bit, tried to slow the game down. Obviously, several of the 2 players who started the game had played 120 minutes. Another one had played 90. A couple more 60. They were kind of blowing out their ass from the first minute. Kind of didn't exactly get hung up on the ropes too much with that sort of rope-a-dope style that we've seen Oscar use in Dallas before, of just kind of tempting teams back and then kind of hitting them on the break. Measured, controlled half. Second half really kind of pushed it into gear. I saw it in the post-game quotes. Frank O'Hara praising Nico, saying, went into the first half not really necessarily believing it was a win, but to just be competitive. But the second half, they felt like they could win and pushed on. Like the way they were controlling chances. Control of the midfield was huge. I think the last couple of games we've seen a big hole around the center of the park where teams like like Vancouver and Sporting Kansas City have kind of packed the midfield out and kind of pushed Dallas's center mids wide. Faku, I thought was phenomenal. Led the team 24 pressures, 71 touches, 93% passing. A host of really nice defensive stats, including 13 recoveries. Just kind of anchoring that position in the midfield, kind of on the road, actually, dominating the midfield, allowing Velasco to play in that kind of more central role that he likes, giving Paxton free rein to kind of run through the middle, and Sylvania as well, which just frees up. Sorry, my notes said Nips. Areola and Ferreira to
awesome.
Do what they do best. Incidentally, they both had over 20 pressures each. I mean, that's how easily they were kind of getting into the defense target in Rouen, particularly. I thought it was just a strong, capable game where they just game management was like spot on.
It was funny because the game was kind of a stalemate, and clearly because they had played their Open Cup game several nights before and were not at full strength and somewhat gassed out. You just really had to worry that Oscar was going to do Oscar things with his team and just kind of strangle the life of it over the course of the 90 minutes. And certainly when they scored late in the first half, you thought to yourself, man, that is the worst time to allow a goal. This isn't going to go well. But Buzz, what was the big shift in the second half for you that suddenly turned everything for Dallas?
Well, it was the Frank O'Hara sub, both in the terms of like Frank O'Hara himself. And I said this in my instant reaction. You really, at this point, you have to consider his salary a sunk cost. It's been paid. And so you have to take that out of your mind and only look at like what he brings to the table. And so like he's a low 30-year-old, 32 or whatever he is, 33, striker who comes off the bench, and the dude is a warrior. He brings an amazing attitude. He brings professionalism. He's ready. He's always ready to go. He's a great example for young guys and how to play and how to be ready and how to get yourself up even if you're not starting. So all of that is awesome. And it wasn't just that, though. The shift when he came in, they brought off Paxton, which, you don't love bringing Paxton off, but, Paxton's needed a game off anyway. And when they brought Frank O'Hara on, by picking off Paxton, they did the shift to the 4-4-1-1 with Jesus as that off striker, which is Jesus' best pure position. And that unlocked the game. They have developed an ability, and this is the amazing part. They have developed an ability between Obrian and Ariel are part of this as well, and Jesus is part of it as well. They have an ability to shift in and out of this 4-4-1-1 and back to their normal 4-3-3 with the wings stepping forward and Jesus dropping back. So they're constantly shifting in and out of that look, and there's constantly being pressure applied. Other than Frank O'Hara, who's working his tail off up top and distracting the center backs, you now have basically three different players shifting where their depth and coming at you either higher or lower from trip to trip up the field. And that's what took made Orlando come apart defensively and opened the game and changed the game. And that sub both in what the player did and in the tactics was phenomenal. And it's basically what won the game. That was the game winning move.
It was a pretty dramatic change, and it certainly came. It was refreshing to see it happen because, as you mentioned, Hara did come on for Pomykal, who was grabbing his hamstring, pretty clearly, which always freaks all of us out. I'm assuming, Buzz, because you're on the road, and Dan, I don't know what your situation is. Have we heard anything about Paxton's situation?
I have not.
No. I didn't see anything mentioned in the post-game comments, and then the team were given a few days off, so there's been no media availability since.
All right. So we'll keep everybody posted. Watch Buzz's Twitter account and stuff like that about any updates we may or may not get about Pomykal, but make sure, when you sit down by your bed tonight and do your little bedtime prayers, you throw one in there for Paxton's hamstring, please. Now, on the other side of the coin, because Hara comes on and starts playing so well, the real highlight of this game continues to be the thing that's really grabbing a lot of national attention is the rise of Paul Arriola. Speaking of nips, Dan, what another game from him. He's now, what has he scored? How many goals in how many consecutive games? Is it 6 and 5? What is it?
6 and 5.
6 and 5, which is really impressive. But he's just doing a little bit of everything just right, isn't he, Buzz?
Oh, the dude's doing everything on and off the field, both. Plus, I would like to personally thank him for making me look good after I went on the MLS Power Ranking show and told Weeby that he was Dallas's best player, and then he proceeded to tear it up the last 3 weeks since then. It's both what he's doing on the field, which is not just a contribution of his goals, his movement, combined, of course, with Jesus' movement and Velasquez's movement and Obrian's movement. All those guys are doing such good things up top that puts immense pressure on the defense. The real addition this year compared to last year, minus Ricardo Pepi, Jesus has replaced him admirably in that role. Both are movement-based strikers. You had guys last year, Obrian, Shun's wasn't quite getting it done consistently. Obrian wasn't quite getting it done consistently. Khalil's not getting it done consistently. But you have both in Velasco and Arriola guys who are dangerous and attract so much attention from the other team. There's a lot of talk, even before the goal started, there was a goal stretch started for him. There was a lot of talk about how the dummies he was making, the movement he's doing, the space he's creating. And then you combine that with what we talked about all season, which was his darn near captaincy of the locker room, with his ability to speak both languages and reach both segments of the player base in the locker room. The way he reached out to guys that are from foreign countries when they first, like Velasco, for example, when he first signed, the ability to demonstrate the coach's message, carry out the coach's message, communicate the coach's message. Those are all massive, massive parts of what he's doing. All those pieces add up to him right now being the most important and most valuable player on this team. And in this game, he was an absolute dynamo. His movement was just unstoppable. The backs didn't know how to handle him. He kept catching the center backs off guard when he would come into the middle and wide. They didn't think that anybody that could handle him. It was just a really dynamic, energetic. He really should have had a hat trick if it hadn't had that fluke handball or whatever in the middle. Just a phenomenal performance from him, and he deserved making Team of the Week, although they stuck him in the midfield, which was weird, even though he plays wing. But, yeah, great performance.
It was, and I apologize for doing this out of order. I do need to go back to Mr. Hara, who we have railed upon and goofed on multiple times over the last 2.5 seasons, or however many months he's been here, for some of the easy misses that he has had boners on. But man, what a sweet little chip finish at a weird angle for his goal to make it 2-1.
Yeah, a good striker it has a confidence in their mind and will not let misses bother them. They have good talk about being a goldfish. They have a short-term memory. Don't remember those things that went before. Stay in the moment. Get the next one. And that's a good striker mentality. And Jesus has it too. And Pepi, a great many times, has had that mentality, or he wouldn't be as successful as he was. And Franco, as we said about his sub, for him to come on and be 100% ready and not just ready to play, but ready to fight. It's his aggressive mentality and his aggressive demeanor and the way he distracts people and gets their attention and makes people focus on him by being just a pain in the butt. There's a lot of ways to be a good striker that aren't necessarily the fact that he's not fast. Obrian is decent because he's fast, and that's about it. Frank O'Hara has all these other great qualities, but he's not fast, and they're all contributing to his ability to contribute to this team and the role he is. Now, do we want him to start? No, of course we don't want him to start. But coming off the bench and changing the game and being a great asset for 20 minutes, both offensively or defensively, contributing with an assist or a goal here or there, that mentality, that professionalism, it's just phenomenal. Obviously the money sucks, but everything else is great about it.
Dan, you mentioned your happiness with Facu's performance, and we've talked a lot or asked a lot of questions on this podcast about what happened to Edwin Cerrillo, and did he just lose his place? Are you at a point in Facu's kind of run here that he is the full-time starter at the 6?
I don't think there's such a thing as a full-time starter at any position in this team. It kind of seems a pretty fluid situation, but he's in a really good run at the moment. It's good to know you have a player who's having the sort of season that Edwin has had. Mm-hmm. Kind of waiting in the wings, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought there was a little the things that were missing from Facu's game in this game are where Edwin this year is excelling. This game, it seemed an obvious choice because it was another road game again, and Facu has been a good spot. But that Edwin-Facu battle is the closest battle in the team, in my opinion. Edwin has a progressive element to his game, and you can see that even in this game, you could see that it was a tiny bit missing. Like, there's not a lot of good passing chart from Facu to Areola or Facu to Jesus. It's all Facu to Brandon or Facu to Paxton. So it's all sideways basically. So that's the component of his game that's missing. And if he had that component in his game, he probably would be the lock guy. But there's also been stretches at the beginning of the year where Edwin outplayed him for 2 months straight and had all this great stuff going on. And a lot of it was his progressive play. And I think that there's going to be games, and this coach, remember, micromanages tactics and micromanages style. There's been games where he's flipped players from one side to the other just because it worked a certain way with the way they wanted to play. So there's going to be games where they're going to think, I need less of a crunching tackler. I need more of a guy that can make a little progressive move and pass and connect there. And so those are the games that everyone's going to get a chance. And that spot's going to stay in constant flux, I think, for now.
There's not much in this game that you would consider bad or poor or anything like that. But I will. There's always a but, right?
Yeah.
I do want to take a few minutes because I was relieved to see Alan Velasco in the starting lineup. I was really worried that if we got a starting 11 and Alan wasn't in it, that was going to be an indicator of bigger problems. But we ended up getting 73 minutes of him, and they continue to be just by the eye test. And I'm sure, and I have a feeling the stats will back me up on this. He's just not performing, and at a level that I think we all thought he was, or he would. Again, it's the curse of a Dallas player who makes an amazing debut and then just kind of levels out afterwards for a while. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. And maybe this is all just a byproduct that Areola is playing so well that it just kind of really reduces Velasco's performances.
Yeah, I actually thought he was terrible. I thought this is about his worst game. The things that he's supposed to do are take guys on the dribble, and he didn't really do that. The things he's supposed to do are pull guys out of position. He was not doing that very effectively. And beyond the fact that his game was just sort of average for him, maybe even below average for him, on top of that, he made two of the worst emotionally immature decisions that you could possibly make. The goal right before the half is pretty much, the goal doesn't come off of the play he makes, but the goal happens because of him. The second he made that foul, I said to myself and wrote down, that is a stupid foul, a really, really stupid foul.
Text me saying that.
Yeah.
And the second I saw it, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what Buzz was talking about.
Yeah, the guy's going away from goal. You never foul going away from goal. He's going towards the sideline. The sideline is your friend. All you got to do is turn the guy. You don't have to foul him. And it's even
He'd
worse.
already turned him. He was running out of play.
Running out of play. And it's even worse that it happens with literally seconds left in the half. And it's in a position that is a horrible position for this particular Dallas team, FC Short, who's given up more goals off set plays than any other method during this season. And that's a pure crossing position and that wide spot. And it led directly to the goal with seconds left in the half. That is a horrible, horrible soccer immature decision. And then in the second half, he does this even more emotionally immature of getting a foul called to him. Fouls happen, and he kicks the ball away in disgust and gets a yellow card. And the coach immediately yanks the guy because he doesn't want to risk him getting a second yellow or getting tossed out or getting in a fight or whatever. So it's like, listen, the kid's 19. I get it. He's been homesick. We can tell from his Twitter. He hasn't said anything, but you can just tell looking at his social media, missing his friends. He gets COVID, apparently, allegedly reported, and misses like a week and a half, misses a week of training, and finally gets back in and gets back in the game and proceeds to have one of the most emotionally immature soccer games we've seen in a long time. Just a horrible performance by him. You have to be an adult. You have to be a professional. I get it. He's 19, but this kind of display will cost you your job and you'll get sat. I don't know with a 3-week break if he'll get sat, but if it was any other, like if there was a game this weekend, I'm sure he would not be starting after that kind of performance.
That sounds like a very frustrated Buzz Carrick, and I haven't heard you talk like that about a player in some time.
I can't stand, soccer emotional unintelligence. And this coach in particular is all about soccer intelligence. We've been talking about this all year long, that he's making choices based on the guys that can understand his system, execute his system, play the way he wants to play, have this versatile tactical approaches, being able to make these shifts mid-game. And if you're going to show that kind of emotional immaturity, you're going to get yanked fast. And it's like, and listen, if you're on the road and you have a relatively good first half and the score's even and you give up a goal because you make a boneheaded foul seconds before the half and now you're going to the break down a goal, that'll kill many, many teams. I mean, it's a great sign that this team didn't get killed by that. It's a great sign of their coaching. It's a great sign of their club mentality and the team mentality that they were able to come right back out and get at it and get goals and win. But man alive, that goal would have killed so many other Dallas teams in its history. You guys know it. You've seen it. Teams melt under that kind of condition all the time when you give up a stupid goal like that right before the half.
It is a weird situation, and it's he's Areola is outperforming him in most of the important areas, and it is. I don't know, when I watch him play, I get the sense he just looks like a guy, and Dan, I think maybe hopefully you'll jive with me on this, or Buzz too. I get the sense he looks like a guy that goes into one-on-one opportunities and just assumes he's going to beat that guy. And so he doesn't commit to it as much as he probably should. And we just repeatedly see him getting stoned and the ball taken from him again and again in situations that to me are like, wait a second, that's not what they paid all this money for. You're the type of guy that should be beating these defenders in these situations. And we're just not seeing it. And to me, I think you can kind of read it in just kind of his body language.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. We've seen all too many times he just dribbles into a player. No one's really having to take any great evasive action to steal the ball away. It's just a straight poke and it's gone. I mean, I don't know if that's a byproduct of this kind of free roll that he has, or it's just lazy play and thinking that he's a level that's above it all. But yeah, I mean, it's incredibly frustrating. And it seems, we talk about horror and, putting his productivity and his salary to one side, but talking about his, the effort he does put in. And a guy that supposedly idolizes horror right now is just kind of taking the piss completely, honestly.
Buzz, go ahead. I'm sorry, Buzz.
Yeah.
If you had anything you wanted to add.
I do. He's the kind of player that can be terrible for a long, long stretch and then just have one magical moment and make something happen. So I understand the reason that they want to invest time and game time in him. O'Brien, for example, is what he is. He's not going to really improve based on where his age is and where he's in his career. Whereas Velasco, you're investing playing time in him. You want him to learn the system. You give him a free role because that way you don't have to collar him or strangle him with certain tactical responsibilities, that he's maybe going to struggle to understand. So Paxton compensates for him underneath. By the way, an undervalued component of Paxton's game is his ability to read Velasco and play with Velasco and be able to cover up for Velasco. That's a key part of what Paxton does. So you can understand why they ride Velasco like they do, because of these moments he can have of brilliance, because you see him do stuff with the ball at his feet and make touches that are sublime. Will he develop a more ruthless mindset? We hope he will. Some of that stuff is of a 19-year-old. You can some of these things are going to happen. Some of these bad decisions and bad dribbles and bad attempts, and you can live with a lot of them. It's when you make these big macro, clearly emotional overreactions. Emotional decisions are going to get you in trouble. Him going at a guy and losing the ball. Well, that's going to happen. You'd like him to be killer mentality, ruthless mentality, and maybe that'll come with time, because there have been moments where he really has been like that. It's just he just drifts in and out. And some of it too is, the off-field stuff is going to impact his on-field stuff, right? I mean, he is a guy still learning the league. He is a kid. He is homesick. He is here by himself. He's out of his home country for the first time ever. Granted, it's a nice place to be, but still he's away from everybody he's ever known. With even the guys that are of his same culture are quite a bit older. They're not 19 years old. So. He jetted off to Miami, I think, probably to meet up with some friends, I would assume, based on his social media. But.
Yeah, I saw that. I wondered, is he actually back in Argentina? Because the pictures I saw on Instagram yesterday look like family. But I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, with the international break, it's possible they've let him go home. I would find that actually very likely when you have a kid like that. It's like he didn't get called up to any teams. He's got 3 weeks before he's got to be back. They probably gave him almost the whole week off of training. So it wouldn't shock me at all. Certainly, if you're going to fly back home, you would go through Miami. So that also makes a lot of sense. It's just pure conjecture for me where he would be now. But I'm not worried about him in a big picture. I think a lot of those things that are a problem in this game specifically, I think they'll get addressed. They'll get cleaned up. The kid will mature. He'll get better at what it is. And it's worth investing all this playing time in him because of his potential.
Well, considering that after all of this, they sit in third place, far exceeding everybody's expectations, and they've done it without their new star player playing balls out.
Yeah. Well, it's important to remember, too, as excited as we are for where Dallas is, and none of us, I mean, you had us Dallas higher than Dan and I did, but it still is very early in the season. I know it's, over a third of the way through the season, but the difference between second place and eighth place is basically 2 wins and a tie, 7 points effectively. So 7 points in a 34-game season is not that big a deal. So, you're looking at, even though Dallas is in second and you love the way they're playing, and the things like the road record are super, super exciting. The dominant home form, the great balance of both goal scoring and goals against. I mean, all the signs are phenomenal. But, 2 wins difference is, over the course of a 4-game season is nothing. I mean, this team I don't think it's going to, because of the things that are good. But, second half collapses, late summer collapses happen. This team could end up 12th. It's nothing is anywhere remotely determined, but all the signs are phenomenal. And you have to be so excited about how well things are going. This turnaround is going way faster than anybody's expected. Certainly that I expected. I can't believe it. But, it's exciting to be where it is. And it's the games it's back to when Oscar was the coach here in like 16, 17, 18. I often pretty much felt in every single game I was watching, I'm like, they still are in this. Well, as the Lucci tenure went on, that became less and less the case, where the road games, there was no chance. And half the homes I got, like, there's no chance. But it's back to being like that. I watch a Dallas game now. I always think that they're in it based on what I'm seeing. They're right on this game. A little thing, couple breaks here, a little thing here, and they're going to have this game. And road games are like that too, and that's amazing.
It is a really promising run, and to be this point of the season and where they're at, as I said, far exceeds expectations. And I'll just very quietly just kind of stretch out and casually remind everybody I predicted they'd end up in fourth.
Yeah, and you're going to be wrong. It's going to be better than that.
Yeah. Well, everybody else said lower. That's my point. I was on the high side.
I thought they would squeak into the playoffs right at the end of the season. This progression is way, way ahead of where they should have been. You have to give them all the credit in the world for going out and breaking their record on Velasco, breaking their in-league record on Arriola. Two massive, massive moves. The return of Matt Hedges to health is absolutely massive part of it. And the Paz signing and the Farfan trade. I mean, every move they've made so far looks gangbusters. The only move I can complain about at all is the sixth overall pick. I mean, everything else looks phenomenal that they've done. I don't have any complaints at all about it. It's incredible.
Put a pin in part of that comment for a second. The other thing I just wanted to comment on the game is I think we all share an equal affinity and love for Oscar Pereira. But man, I got to tell you, I do not miss those games where Oscar has that look on his face.
Yeah, he wouldn't have me. Yeah, I wouldn't have me. Well, Oscar gets frustrated when guys can't do what he wants them to do, and his team was clearly tired and he clearly wasn't missing some of his guns, and they've got a couple guys out suspended and a couple guys hurt. So he was not happy about the situation he found himself in. But, I really do hope there's a day he's back at this club, and the Bazan brothers too, both. I'd love to see him back here someday.
Yeah, it is, and Steve and Mark were talking about it too. But just the reality that so much of what is on the field today for Dallas is a byproduct of him specifically, and I'm sure he quietly has a tremendous amount of pride when he sees what's happening here. So.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
For sure. All right. Now, I will go back to the pin because the other piece of news that happened this week, at least we think it has, it's not been officially announced, but Buzz, I think you sourced some Dutch newspaper or something saying that Dallas has officially signed Martin Paz.
Yeah, what it actually says was, I went and found the original article. It says that the loan agreement for Paz had a automatic buy trigger in it based on games played. And that he surpassed that trigger, so the number had already been agreed. So literally, the deal happens whether anyone wanted it to or not. At this point, the automatic trigger happened, or will happen, I guess technically. Now remember that transfer of his paperwork can't happen until the window opens, which is basically when his loan ends. So it's just a matter of the paperwork actually being passed through FIFA at this point. If, of course, you believe the reporting of the guy who covers that league as a professional reporter. I don't have any reason to doubt it. He had very specific details about the amount of the transfer, which was 1.1 million euros, which I think it was, or 1 million euros, which is 1.07 American dollars. That's what the numbers were. So those details are very specific. The trigger auto buy is a very specific detail. It's a guy that covers the league for their national, whatever paper this was. So I don't have any reason to doubt it. You won't hear anything about it officially from Dallas or the clubs until you get to probably the time when they're actually going to transfer the paperwork or when they sign Paz to a new contract, which you assume will happen because they'll want him under their own deal rather than the deal that he's with his Utrecht, which was, will now change over to Dallas. So, yeah.
Well, and the reason why I bring that up, because I don't remember, Dan, was his salary listed in the salary list?
You should have been.
Do we know what it was?
It actually was really reasonable. Okay. I remember.
So he's not like $1 million player.
Oh, no. Well, not right now because he's on loan. But you'll have to do a new deal with him. So, I imagine it'll go up. I don't know. Who knows what it'll be? It's pure conjecture on my part.
150 grand base.
Yeah.
Really? That's it.
But that's not. Utrecht's probably playing part of his contract back. These things are complicated when you're talking about a loan deal, right?
Yeah.
The club might be paying some to Utrecht, who's paying some back, and all those kind of things. It's
also his loan was only half a season, so really that number's 300.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting because the reason why I ask is because when we look at the salary numbers and we all kind of look at each other and go, "Holy crap, Dallas has got more. We've got more $1 million salary players this season than I think we have collectively over the entire history of this club."
Yeah.
And I would just wonder that when they work a new deal with Paz, if that in fact isn't going to end up being another $1 million deal.
Well, you can base the deals kind of off of the amount of the transfer. The salaries are sort of sometimes relative to that. And for his buy only being $1 million, something in the neighborhood of 300, 350 or whatever is probably actually relatively reasonable. Compare him.
Okay.
Also think about Dallas has an unofficial salary structure to how much they're going to pay certain positions. And just go back and look at like what you can go back and look at what Jimmy got when he got a raise off of his really good season. Go back and look at what Jesse Gonzalez got paid when he got his big raise. You can see where the ballpark is for a MLS in Dallas's mind, an MLS first team starting keeper. So you're looking at, I don't know, 350, because keep in mind it's going to be a multi-year deal more than likely, right? So you don't want to start it at like 5. It's going to start at, I don't know, 350, 4, somewhere in that ballpark probably. That's my guess. Well, we'll see. But and also don't forget that when the MLSPA drops those numbers are a combination of transfer fees and salary. So it'll look higher because of the $1 million purchase fee will be amortized over the time of the deal. So it may show like 6, but really he's only getting paid 3, things like that. These things are not as simple as they look on paper.
So many numbers. It's
I know
complicated.
it's dumb, but it's like Franco Hara, right? It says $3 million. Well, his salary is only $2 million. Like $1 million of that is all his initial upfront fee or signing bonus or something. I don't know. It's like it's never 100% accurate. You can just know that he's probably going to be in the same ballpark as like Jesse Gonzalez was, because remember Jesse was that same kind of age, same sort of fringe of the national team, maybe, it's going to be that ballpark.
It's funny. I was having this conversation with somebody. We were asking the question, and when pro athletes, if the rare occasion a pro athlete doesn't make as much money as their significant other. And I was wondering if Martin Paz fell into that category because of his supermodel girlfriend.
Yeah, I bet he does.
I wonder if she makes more money than he does.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
All right. So I guess the big question I have out of this particular game, and performance and result aside, is it safe to say that Buzz Nico considers that 11 his number one starting 11, his first choice 11?
Yeah, I think so at this point. I mean, you can look at the fact that they didn't have a midweek game. They got a whole chance to work together again and train, work on whatever concepts. Admittedly, they were going on the road, which has a little bit of impact. But, he immediately went back to Velasco. He immediately went back to Facu. Well, Facu maybe is slightly impacted by the road thing. Ima's in there. Farfan's in there. Paz is back in there right away. So this basically is the first 11. Now, there's guys that are in the very high, very active rotation. Obrian is obviously very high in the rotation. Hara is very high in the rotation. Siki Nesebling. The two in the midfield, strangely, are the two that are in competition the closest. Cervania and Nesebling and Facu and Edwin, those two spots. I thought that the Cervania in there made the whole thing look a lot better. His ability to connect and his ability to be progressive. But statistically, when Siki comes in, those last 20, 30 minutes that he does always look great. His energy is really impactful at that time. He's really aggressive. He hunts the ball. He progressively dribbles past guys that are tired. So that concept works better in that combo for me. Maybe that's a spot that's really close, but I think that's pretty much it. I think Ima's held down right back over Nanu. I think center back at this point, Hedges, Martinez are it. Coach has said that Tafari's done some really great stuff, but he's got a little bit more to learn still. That kind of means he's probably the third guy. So, I mean, I can't see anybody in this 11 that's not the first choice guy, with the possible Edwin, that might be a tactical choice each time, but I think it's pretty much locked at this point.
All right, Dan, that's your favorite 11. Anybody you'd rather throw in there?
No. I mean, no, the only ones, the Edwin, Facu, battle.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems pretty locked down other than that.
All right. We're all in agreement then. Very good. All right. So now the team is on vacation. The international break, and the U.S. beat up on Morocco shortly before we began recording this. And I know the result, but I haven't seen the game. And I know that Jesus started and Reggie started, and I think Weston came in as a sub. So there's lots of Dallas influence in that particular performance. But Buzz, what should everybody expect out of the club over the course of these next 3 weeks until they have Vancouver at home?
Well, they'll start training. I'm sure they gave everybody a week off, basically, or close to a week off. I imagine they'll start training, this next Monday or Tuesday.
They're going to start Friday.
Oh, going to start Friday. Okay, good. Yeah, that's actually, I would have expected a little more time off than that, but Friday's still fine. They'll want to use this window to implement some sort of concepts, more than likely. Some different formations perhaps, or some different work on a couple deficiencies, but a lot of it will just be about maintenance. You want to try and give guys, a physical maintenance of their bodies. They do a lot of stuff differently when they have a little more time off, to try and make guys, it's hard to really describe what I'm talking about, but solidify where they are in terms of their health. Like, for example, with Paxton with his hamstring, obviously they'll do things, presuming that actually is a problem, other than him grabbing it, it's hard to really say. They'll want to work on things that have to do with that and hook into that, and try and get certain guys will get more time off or more minutes on the side, and they might work really aggressively. Younger guys, they'll want to arrange some scrimmages, probably with North Texas, probably mix in some academy guys over the next couple of weeks, the ones that are out of the playoffs, perhaps, get a couple of looks at those kind of guys. It's a lot of maintenance. It's a lot of mid-season sort of reset of the brain, that kind of activity. And most importantly, they replaced the field at Toyota Stadium when they have the new turf laid in. So that'll be really helpful.
And so Vancouver comes next. And then I think the other thing is we all just quietly, assuming he did go home to Argentina, we all just quietly keep our fingers crossed he comes back from Argentina.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. You don't get paid if you don't come back. Pending Paxton's hammy, I imagine that the lineup, for the game 3 weeks from now will be it's not quite 3 weeks anymore, will be the same as you saw in this game, with the possible choice of Falco versus Edwin at home, and really that's about it. I don't think there's anybody with a gap between the next game. I don't think that they'll bench Velasco for what he did, the mental mistakes. I think they'll just work with him on it, get him to clear his head a little bit, It'll be interesting to see. I don't think that'll be impactful. I think they'll go right back to him.
Well, it will. I mean, assuming he comes back and he starts, just seeing how he plays. Does his play, if in fact he went home and he got to see mom and his friends and he's feeling a little rejuvenated, how does he come back and play? Does that visit, assuming he went home, again, we don't know for sure, but whatever he's doing now and posting on social media appears that he's at least hanging out with friends somewhere here at the very least Miami, if not back in Argentina. Does that rejuvenate and restore him, or does that just make him more homesick and his play doesn't get better? So I don't know.
You hope that everybody gets a mental reset. Like Haro will get to go spend some time with his kids. Matt Hedges will go get to hang out with his brand new baby. Maybe Ariola goes and spends some time with his brand new. I think they just got married, right? Brand new wife. Everyone has their home life. Everyone has their things that make them happy. Haro get out on his boat that he has been showing off on Instagram. Matt will work on his new Ford car, fancy car he bought. Everyone's got their jam. So these little breaks like this, particularly when it's kind of a big one, you'd hope to see the whole team come back really with a refreshed mentality. Other than Jesus, of course, will be gone. And Ariola, now that I said that about his brand new wife, is going to be in the national team. But hopefully everybody comes back refreshed, and you just kind of build on what you've done so far. Actually, you don't want to change too much. You just want to carry over, that the mentality and keep everybody working and keep everybody rolling. But at the same time, a little reset of the brain, a little reset of the season. Get back to it. It should be good, I hope.
I'm assuming Paxton is just relaxing and growing his mustache. That's his jam.
Yeah, put one of those electrical things on your hammy, hopefully.
Yeah, we're trying. We've put the official request in to see if Paxton will come hang out on the kick around.
Oh, nice.
During the break.
Nice.
What did you just assume? Did you say no?
I think
Dan?
we both said nice.
Oh, nice. I thought you just were in your best voice impersonation. You were like, no.
No, that's a voice I definitely can't do.
We're hopeful. I'm not the one that put in the request. I'm letting somebody else do it. So I'm
So
trying
it
to
might get
remove-
approved then.
Yeah, it might. Pull me out of the request to take me out of the mix. Things may actually get done.
Smart thinking.
Well, I know how to mix things up. All right. I'm trying to think. So we saw pictures that the new grass has been installed. We've told stories that the next drone show is going to be 2X. I don't know anything else really groovy about the club. We don't have much else to talk about.
Yeah, they apparently. Well, we've seen the pictures of the stuff being painted, the stadium being painted.
Oh yeah,
somebody
behind
mentioned. Somebody said use the word mural to me today. So
Really?
I'm hoping it's going to be kind of cool. I mean, they've got things that are mural-like already, but I mean, I hope it's going to be something fun and cool.
Yeah, if you don't know what Buzz is talking about, the wall that is at the back of the stage, which has typically been overgrown with ivy or the gray concrete, is getting a paint job, and it's some sort of weird blue and red thing. I don't know what it looks like today versus what I saw in a picture somebody snuck out a couple of days ago. So I wonder if they're going to take all the ivy off the wall.
That I don't know. That's a good question. They definitely been trying to figure out what the heck to do with that space. And they were talking about trying to shrink it. So maybe the idea of painting things on it maybe makes it feel shrunk or something. Maybe it feels like the space is smaller.
I got an idea.
Yeah, lasers. Yeah,
Exactly.
lasers. Yeah.
Exactly. Lasers. You know me well, Buzz.
Presentation.
I mean, we got fire, so maybe lasers is the next step.
Did we really? I saw the video that John Arnold tweeted out of the red alert and literally it was like at a boys camp when you light your fart kind of fire. That's all it was. It was pretty pathetic.
You Americans do some weird shit.
Okay, that's how we're going to end the podcast today, kids, with Dan's excellent line. All right, I'll just go once, twice, three. Anything anybody else want to throw in there?
Well, I'd like to mention that the Forward Madison Pride warm-up kit or whatever is spectacular. Have you seen
Would
it?
you wear it?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
You would wear it.
FC Dallas is doing something for Dallas Pride this weekend, which is a complete first.
What are they doing?
And they're going to be at Fair Park for the main festival, the ticketed festival thingy, with their street team, which is something I wrote and said they needed to do. Oh, how many years ago? 5, 6 now.
I know why we're doing this, because Dan wants credit. Good for you, Dan.
Hey, if Buzz can claim hoops, I can claim at least that. No, I think it's cool that they're getting out of their element and trying to market the team to different communities. I think that, you can't do enough to try and fill the stadium, right?
The other thing that I forgot, and Buzz, if you want to edit this and push it back further in the podcast that I forgot, is we do need to do a little bit of kit talk.
Yeah. Why is that? Beyond the Forward Madison kit talk?
Yeah. I can't tell you how insane that goofy-ass recycled parsley league-wide kit thing makes me.
Yeah.
Did
you hear Steve Davis parlay?
Probably. Yeah.
Steve Davis indulged in kit talk, musing when was the last time they were in all white, and we will find the answer.
Yeah, that one would be hard to find. Look, here's the thing, and I was tweeting this because I first off, I don't like the fact that you take your teams out of their branding identity. I think that's bad.
Yep.
Right? 2, it creates this really weird visual friction where, as a viewer of this team, I can easily identify players when they're in their uniforms without even seeing the numbers. But when they're in these weird kind of vague uniforms, it took me a while to figure out who was who.
I kept having issues with Velasco and Farfan overlapping each other because you couldn't see a number. Both have dark hair, both kind of, have that olive skin.
Yeah, and the other problem is you trying to remember re-screwing in your head which team is wearing what color, right? Because you're just not used to them wearing those colors. And then, of course, the jerseys themselves or the kits themselves are really bland. The peach-colored font numbering on the white kits was terrible.
Yep.
And then, of course, the whole idea is stupid in the first place because I don't understand the idea of, quote-unquote, raising awareness of plastic waste by making one-time use jerseys out of recycled plastic. That just doesn't make any sense. That's the dumbest thing in the world.
Here's the thing, right? They'll try and defend it by going, oh, well, we auction all the jerseys off through Fanatics. That's great. Every one of them players would have probably got 4 jerseys. What are you doing with the other ones? They're
Well,
just
how
going
about
to go in
this?
the trash can.
Just do the same concept, but just make it the training jerseys that they wear before the game. At least they're getting multiple uses, and the whole point of it is all just it's just marketing bullshit.
And here's how stupid it all gets, right? For one, Breck Shea tweeted, well, why not do this for the whole season? Why only one game? What does that really prove? And then two, the schedule works so weirdly. The FC Dallas is having to do its Pride night on the Juneteenth night, which aren't, you want to give them two things, their own night. Originally, their military appreciation night was also going to be a shared night because of the way the calendar worked out. Well, the LA Galaxy had to do their Pride night on the delayed Earth Day thing, so then it's just you're taking away from the point of it all by trying to spread it yourself too thin.
Well, I get that there's only limited games and the calendar is limited and the things fall within particular months. The idea of doing this particular thing and the meaning behind it is meaningless to me when you're making one-off shirts, and then the execution of it is also silly in my mind.
They missed Earth Day, right? Obviously, the supply was lacking because it came with almost no fanfare. Why didn't they just say, okay, let's hold these jerseys till later in the year when there's nothing really to note, slot it in before
it's probably an Adidas promotion
in September.
I'm sure it has something to do with Adidas and their calendar and their schedule and all of that stuff. I'm sure it has something to do with that. Yes. So sorry, Buzz. Yes, the Ford Madison kit is rather spectacular.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever wear one.
Oh, I'm getting one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I love tie-dyes. Yeah, I wear them all the time.
Well, that's not really even a tie-dye. It's
No, it
like
kinda
this
is.
weird psychedelic,
Close enough.
very colorful.
Love
All
it.
right.
Yeah. I actually have a big piece of news, actually. I think it's big. It's not a Huntsman dump. I just think it's a big deal.
Okay, what is it?
Well, Jesse Gonzalez is about to sign a contract.
Oh, I saw that. He's playing down in Guatemala.
It's Guatemala. Well, we talked about the fact that he would have to go someplace way out there in order to get back in the game, but he's also 27, which is amazing. I didn't realize that had happened.
Is he 27?
Yeah, well, that's what the tweet says. I'm assuming that's accurate. But yeah, it's a club in Guatemala, FC Zaluja. I don't know how you pronounce this. Whatever. It's
So not even a big one.
No. But, we've been wondering a long time whether he would ever get to a stage where people would look at him again and how far out he would have to go. And apparently we now have the answer. So, whatever you think about whatever his situation is, it's an interesting piece of news. Whether you think he should get this chance or not is up for you to decide. But it's the first thing we've seen of, other than
Jesus, that was loud.
What was that?
Lightning.
Is that at your house, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought something.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. So I thought maybe someone was mad about Jesse Gonzalez. Other than the trial he had in
Mother
somewhere
Nature.
in Hungary or something, I can't remember where it was.
Cyprus.
Cyprus, yes. So now he's actually surfaced again in Guatemala. So, hey, it's news. So it's worth a comment. It's worth it talking about, from that level.
The only thing that I took notice of it was somebody tweeted out the crest or the logo for the team he's joining, and it may be one of the epically bad club logos of all time if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's not great.
No, it's pretty bad. Have you seen it, Dan?
Yes, saw it in the Discord.
Yeah.
Join the Discord if you haven't already.
It's pretty hilarious. Yeah. Very, very funny. All right. Well, so much for trying to end the pod on Dan's funny line.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about. Okay, I'll try it one more time. Are we done now?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
One last thing.
Dan, get him.
Good luck to Denton Diablos, who are going to travel up to Flint, Michigan this weekend to participate in the Hank Steinbrecher Cup, which is the USL League 2 champions, or in this case, the reigning cup holders, the Flint City Bucks, Lansdowne Yonkers, the US Amateur Soccer Association Cup winners, obviously the MPSL champions, and some random team from Houston who I have no idea who the hell they are. But the Diablos will play on June 3rd against Lansdowne Yonkers, which is an affiliate of Celtic, weirdly. And hopefully get named the champion of champions for amateur soccer in the US.
Wow, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Keep us posted over on the Twitter account, Buzz, please.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you. And I'm sorry we didn't get to end on your fantastic line.
No, thank you. And please stop sending thunderbolts my way.
That was a loud one.
And Dan, if you ever want to, try out lighting your farts, just ask. Well, Buzz and I will be happy to help out. Get you to experience
I'm
that.
good. That's a party trick of some relatives. I don't want to get into that. That's gimmick infringement.
Hi, this is Amy Carrick, again reminding you that Third Degree the podcast is brought to you by Soccer 90, your source for FC Dallas, U.S. national team, and international club gear. Check out the new arrivals dropping daily. Gear from leagues around the world, fresh Serie A, Premier League, Bundesliga, and of course, MLS and FC Dallas club merch available now. Remember, Third Degree listeners get 20% off at soccer90.com with promo code Third Degree. Some exclusions may apply.
Buzz, I hope you and Amy continue to have a fantastic trip. Are we going to record another one next week? Will you have internet where you will be?
I can get it, yes. I think we should do one and maybe do like a evaluation of the club, good, bad player roster evaluation, sort of a like with 2/5 of the season, let's call it. Breakdown, see where we are. I think it's a good idea.
All right. We can try to do that. All right. Well, have a good time on your trip. Please
Thanks, man.
Be safe driving up there.
I will.
And thank you, FC Dallas, a.k.a. Giddy. Curious fans, we will speak to you next week on another episode of Third Degree, the podcast.
Congrats, you can do something else on Saturday.
Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.